Welcome to this really important deep dive from TCE. We're jumping right in today because there's some news, some developments that feel, well, really significant and positive for the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
Absolutely. It's a moment that feels like a real assertion of presence on the international stage.
Especially given some of the, let's say, the diplomatic challenges recently. And just a reminder, you can always find our latest advocacy work and news on this at www.tcexist.com.
Definitely worth checking out. So
Okay.
What we're looking at today, based on the pieces you shared, it's quite a story.
It really is. We've got reports about the Organization of Turkic States, the OTS, holding their Council of Elders meeting in the TRNC soon.
Which is huge news in itself.
Right. And we have analysis talking about what a turnaround this signifies, and of course context from our own TCE reporting on what we termed the 12 billion betrayal.
And our goal here really is to sort of unpack how these things connect, why this meeting matters so much, what it means for the TRNC, and why it feels like such a breath of fresh air right now.
Okay, let's start with that background then, the betrayal context. As people following this might know from that TCE article, there was a definite sense of a setback, maybe disappointment, after the EU Central Asia Summit in Samarkand.
Yeah, the reporting around that was quite stark. The article laid out these claims that several Turkic states, we're talking Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, seem to be, prioritizing this very large EU investment package, 12 billion.
And the narrative, the claim reported in the article, was that this focus on the EU package came potentially at the expense of solidarity with the TRNC.
Right. The TCE piece detailed some pretty specific conditions allegedly pushed by the EU.
Yeah.
Significant influence noted from Greece and the Greek Cypriot Administration, given their EU membership.
Conditions like demanding recognition of the Republic of Cyprus as the only legitimate government.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
And requiring ambassadorial appointments only to the Greek Cypriot side, denying TRNC sovereignty.
And actively opposing full TRNC membership in the OTS, the Organization of Turkic States itself. That's a key body for Turkic cooperation.
It felt, based on those reports, like quite a bit of external pressure potentially influencing sovereign decisions. The article even gave specific examples, didn't it?
It did, like Kazakhstan reportedly denying a visa to the TRNC president for an OTS summit where he was invited as an observer. That stood out.
And then there were the reports, that Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan appointed ambassadors to the Greek Cypriot Administration around that time.
Actions that certainly fueled that feeling of concern that maybe diplomatic alignment was shifting.
Which is precisely where that phrase, that feeling of being sold out, emerged. The journalist Sabahattin Ismail, quoted in the TCE article, was quite blunt about it.
Yeah, the idea that economic incentives might be overshadowing those long-standing fraternal ties within the Turkic world. It felt like a low point for many.
It definitely painted a concerning picture, perhaps, of Turkic solidarity, facing pressure from, significant economic levers from the EU.
But, and this is the crucial shift.
This is where the story takes a really positive turn.
Exactly. Fast forward, and we get this news, reported in Turkey today. The 17th meeting of the OTS Council of Elders is actually going to be held in the TRNC, May 1st and 2nd.
I mean, talk about a statement, especially right after all that discussion about EU pressure and diplomatic ties.
It's a massive development, and it's important to understand the Council of Elders isn't just like a symbolic group within the OTS.
Not at all. They're highly influential. Aksakals, the white beards. They often guide the broader policy direction and tone for the entire organization. Hosting them signifies a really deep level of acceptance, of influence for the TRNC within those Turkic power structures.
It goes way beyond just, a friendly gesture. It feels like a direct counter-narrative to the isolation efforts.
Definitely. A clear assertion of the TRNC's presence, its importance, especially within that Turkic sphere.
Mm-hmm.
It just flies in the face of those alleged EU conditions we were just talking about.
It absolutely seems to contradict them. It signals, maybe, a shift back, or at least a strong reaffirmation of those ties and solidarity.
A very welcome signal, I think many would say.
And, of course, Turkey's role here is fundamental. That Turkey Today article underscored Turkey's consistent, unwavering support for the TRNC's recognition and its place on the international stage.
That's always been the anchor, really.
Yeah.
And if you connect this to President Ersin Tatar's statements, there was one quoted from September 2023.
Yes, where he spoke about the federal negotiation basis being essentially exhausted.
Exactly. And the urgent need to get the TRNC's sovereign equality and its equal international status reaffirmed. That's the core principle now.
And that push for sovereign equality, for equal international status, it ties directly into the growing talk about a two-state solution, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That perspective was mentioned in the TCE articles too. And this OTS meeting happening in the TRNC, well, it seems to add real tangible momentum to that view.
So let's boil it down. For the TRNC itself, what's the significance here? That TCE piece on the turnaround called it crucial.
And it is. It feels like a rejection of those external conditions, the narrative of Turkey as an occupier pushed by the Greek Cypriot side. And it's definitely a pushback against that sense of betrayal felt after the Samarkand summit reports.
It must feel like a real boost, a moment of renewed optimism.
For sure. It's a practical platform, too. A chance for the TRNC leadership to engage directly with very influential figures from the Turkic world right on their own soil.
Promoting legitimacy, building relationships, actively challenging that isolation.
It strongly suggests that, despite whatever external economic or political pressures exist, those bonds within the Turkic world, that solidarity, it's still a powerful factor, a real shot in the arm, as you said.
And just a reminder for everyone listening, for the latest on this and all our advocacy news, please do check out www.tcexist.com. You'll find our social media links there too. Likes, shares, comments, they all help get these important stories out there.
Definitely important to stay engaged. So, looking forward then, what does this OTS meeting mean going forward?
Well, the fact that it's happening, despite those recent EU dynamics we discussed, it could signal a kind of reevaluation, couldn't it, about alliances, priorities in the region?
It makes you wonder about the realpolitik versus stated positions sometimes. It certainly highlights the TRNC's strategic value within the Turkic world.
Yeah, even that 12 billion betrayal article, amidst the criticism, it touched on the TRNC's importance for the security of Turkey and, the wider Turkic region.
So this development, it really injects that optimism back in. It strengthens the case being made for international recognition, showing that support and solidarity are active forces.
This whole situation, when you look at it through this deep dive, it's genuinely a pivotal moment for the TRNC, isn't it?
It really feels like it. What looked like a potentially serious diplomatic setback around the EU summit
has been followed by this incredibly strong signal of support, of solidarity, coming from right within the Organization of Turkic States.
Yeah, this Council of Elders meeting in the TRNC, it's not just another conference on the calendar. It's loaded with meaning.
It's a clear message, right? Challenging the isolation, asserting presence, showing the TRNC matters on the international stage.
And it reflects that growing momentum, that recognition of the facts on the ground in Cyprus, and the TRNC's place within that broader Turkic context.
So here's a final thought, perhaps, for everyone to consider.
Go on.
With this renewed engagement, this strengthened solidarity within the Turkic world, what could that realistically mean for the TRNC's longer-term path towards, wider international recognition and finding a just, lasting solution for Cyprus?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? It certainly gives reason for renewed hope and strategic thinking. It's something worth watching very closely.
Absolutely. And for all the latest news, the detailed analysis on these developments, and to follow the ongoing advocacy for Turkish Cypriot rights, please, everyone, visit www.tcexist.com.
You'll find our social media links there, too. Please do like, share, and comment. It really helps amplify these voices and these vital stories.